The third big thing I want to get to, Duke, Michigan highlights an elite Saturday in college basketball. Kudos to Dusty May. Kudos for Jen Shire putting this game together in Washington, D.C., which will be the site of the East Regionals in the NCAA tournament. This is a Final Four caliber game. This is a national championship game caliber tilt. And it will be the showcase game that we see on Saturday. Now, I know Arizona is going to play Houston. I know UConn's going to play Villanova. But Duke, Michigan is the marquee showdown on Saturday, and there is no doubt about it. Now, what's at stake in this non-conference game? I think you can say without hesitation that the winner of this game between Duke and Michigan will be the team that has the inside track to be the number one overall seed in the NCAA tournament on Selection Sunday. Now, Michigan, as I talked about earlier in the week, is in the midst of having a week where it's going to play 2 Final Four games. Michigan answered the bell earlier in the week at Mackey Arena. It was unbelievable what the Wolverines did, holding Purdue to under 40% shooting from the field and just over 30% shooting from 3 at Mackey Arena. It was straight domination. The 2-point defense with the Daimara was off the charts. But it also brings a couple of other things to the forefront for me, because I had talked ad nauseum about the fact that when Michigan lost to Wisconsin, the Badgers had to make 15 threes to leave Ann Arbor with a 3-point win. I think when you split the atom, it is safe to say that any team that has a chance to beat Michigan is going to have to make at least 10 3-point shots to win the game. You are not going to be able to get inside of that defense in the paint. You are not going to be able to get layups or post-ups. I went over the numbers. Duke right now is averaging 8.8 made threes per game. That's not going to be enough on Saturday. Duke needs big shooting from Isaiah Evans. Duke needs big shooting from Cam Boozer and Caleb Foster and Nick Kamenya and Dame Sarr. And that's going to be a major, major key for this game against the Michigan team that I think you can say right now unequivocally is the best team that college basketball has seen since the UConn team that won the national title in 2024 with Klingon, with Caravan, with Steph Castle, with Tristan Newton, and with Cam Spencer. That's what Michigan is right now. And it's not just one guy. For bits and pieces the other night, obviously, it was a Daimara. The Michigan staff, I had a conversation with a staff member last night, continues to rave about what we're seeing from Merez Johnson. Now you have to look at Yaxel Lendeborg as being a guy who's a first or second All-American and a guy who's not getting the proper usage that other guys are getting in terms of guys who are going to be a first or second team All-American because Michigan blows so many teams out. Now you're in a scenario where you're not only depending on Elliot Cadeau, but you're also depending on LJ Kaysen. If one point guard for Michigan doesn't play at a high level, the next one can. It's the best team that college basketball has seen since the 2024 UConn team. And Michigan and Duke will play about as big of a game, non-conference-wise, as you can play in a long, long time. You think about through the years, these non-conference games that happen in the middle of February, and there's been a handful of them throughout the years. Last year, Duke played Illinois at Madison Square Garden. That was obviously a one-sided game. I remember when it was 1 versus 2 in 07-08 at FedEx Forum, when Tennessee played Memphis with Bruce Pearl and John Calipari. This game Saturday has that type of feel. And the winner of this game is going to have the inside track to be the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Michigan obviously headed to be the 1 seed in the Midwest. That means Chicago in the regionals. Duke looking at Greenville and then Washington, D.C. Now, Michigan has been the wagon of all wagons, but I would be remiss if I did not start to tip my cap a little bit more to Illinois, because Illinois right now is skinning the cat different ways. What do I mean by that? Illinois only had 7 made threes on Sunday against Indiana. won the game by 20. Illinois then made 13 threes last night at USC and blew the doors off the Trojans at the Galen Center. I know that Illinois was facing a USC team that didn't have Chad Baker-Mazara. I'm aware of that. I understand that. But with that said, Illinois, now that it's healthy, now that Kai Boswell is back, now that Andrei Stojakovic is back, Illinois is another team that should be discussed as a team that can win a national championship. And the best pathway for Illinois to win a national championship, like everybody else, is to be a 1 seed. I have Illinois on the 2 line right now, but Illinois' next 2 games at UCLA on Saturday and then Michigan at home a week from Friday are both quad 1 opportunities. There's a path for the Illini to get there, but it's going to take, obviously, 2 wins over the next week, 8 days or so, not losing in the final 2 regular season games, which are Oregon and Maryland. I don't expect Illinois to, and then doing some work in the Big Ten tournament. But Brad Underwood's had a lot of really good teams over the last half decade during his tenure at Illinois. Kofi Cockburn and Ayo Dosunmu led Illinois to a 1 seed in 2021 in the bubble. I was there. I was as shocked as anybody when Loyola Chicago got that Illinois team in the bubble. This year, they got knocked out in the round of 32 to Houston. That was a good team. I wouldn't say it was a great team. The next best team probably was 2024 with Shannon and Domask and Colin Hawkins and Quincy Guerrier that went to the Elite Eight and lost to UConn and Boston. I'm not ready to say this is the best team that Brad Underwood has had since he's been at Illinois, but to me, it looks like it is on that track. And a big reason to me why is because this team is so hard to match up with because of how well the bigs on Illinois shoot the basketball. David Mirkovic, Tomislav Ivasic, Ben Humrickhouse, Zvonimir Ivasic. You've got shooters all up the court. You've got incredible size. You've got incredible spacing. Illinois has and always will have one of the great fan bases in college basketball. Final Four in 89, Final Four in 2005, thirsty for another one. It could happen this year. Regardless of Illinois is a 1 seed or not, I would expect Illinois to start, obviously, the first weekend of the NCAA tournament in nearby St. Louis, and we'll see how things fall beyond that.